I was watching a video from Court Helicopter. It was by the renowned lawyer Dunstan Omari. He was trying to say that he was trying to tell people the qualifications of one to be an inspector general, and also the qualifications of one to be a deputy inspector general. I want this one to be seen as addition to what he said, correction to what he said, and I want to give a clear way forward where I want to say that in future it will be this way and that way and that way. I want to give, when you go to court, especially a constitutional court, usually you'll hear lawyers saying the framers of the constitution, this is what they were mean. Everybody who argues the case in a constitutional court, courts usually tries to give the impression of what the framers of the constitution wanted, because we in the field want to act the way the framers of the constitution put down. So it is upon lawyers and judges to interpret and give an environment which is giving a picture of the world the way the way the framers of the constitution meant. I want to say that he said what he said about the DIG. What he said about the DIG was right. What he said about DIG was right. But there is one thing I want to disagree with him. There's one thing I want to disagree with him. He said that only the Inspector General of Police sits on the National Security Advisory Committee. According to him, Deputy Inspector General and the Director of DCI do not sit there. That is why I want to disagree with him. What I want to say here is that the DIG and the IGP are the same people. Okay, their way of recruitment is different, but they're the same people. They are answerable on matters of security. So when it comes to National Security and Advisory Committee, the director of DCI is a member. The DIG for AP is a member. The DIG for the general duties, that is the Kenya Police Service, is a member. That is where I disagree with him. That is one thing we disagreed with. The other thing, he was right, and if you can go and watch his video, is about who is qualified to be a DIG. That one I agree with him, but I'll repeat in brief. I am not a lawyer. Him being a lawyer, and if you see the way he was presenting he was reading the law, whatever, but me, I'm talking out of. These are occasions when you tell me, now write it down so that we present it. What I do is, when you've called upon is now when I start searching which section says this. Najua kuna section inasema hivi. So DIG is that way. The only thing I mean, the DIG, the president selects somebody. The president selects somebody, and that person is immediately made a DIG. So there's no problem there. I agree with him. When it comes to IGP. I disagreed with him when he said the IGP has to be vetted by Parliament because he sits on the National Security and Advisory Committee where the DIGs don't sit. That is where I disagree with him. Now, the purpose of today's shooting was to talk about, and it is the same question that he asked himself there, and we are going to ask ourselves here. Can a person be made an Inspector General of Police with no police experience at all, at all? Danstan Omari said yes, and I also say yes, for the following reasons. One, if you look at the 2010 Constitution, it was really influenced by a lot of these people we call human rights people. Human rights people, they did a lot of things. You'll see a lot of, in fact, even today, I'm very sure a lot of people in the judiciary, a lot of people in the security service and so on would tell you that there are some things that they are not comfortable with in the 2010 Constitution. But the problem with 2010 Constitution is one, they knew that like the Section 2A, Section 2A, the Parliament of Kenya uh, added Section 2A to the Constitution in a record time. I think even by the time I finish recording here, I'll still have bypassed that time. They did it very quickly. First reading, second reading, and before you knew it, it was already law. So one of the things that the 2010 Constitution made was that to change the Constitution, they really placed it very hard, especially certain sections where they said that certain sections were protected to an extent that you can only change them when you hold a referendum. Now, holding a referendum, it may not happen during my lifetime because the person who used to change constitutions and whatever, every time he'll look for an excuse to come up with a way to amend the constitution. BBI, NADEC, we buried him the other day. So I don't, just like somebody had just told me at the next election, we don't, ile drama ya kwenda kotini may not be there. So we can also say that changing the constitution will be a bit of a challenge because since the 2010, only one person has been trying to change the constitution to distract our attention concerning matters of how he lost the election. And we all know, especially after Gen C, that he used to use such occasions also to cooperate. They used to say cooperation, then what do you call? Nusu mkate, that is the third president. Then the fourth president, handshake, then broad-based and whatever. So today, changing the constitution is a big challenge. It is a very big challenge. And as I said, that people in the human rights did a lot of problems. I can tell you that initially they wanted to have two inspectors general. They wanted to have two inspectors general, one in charge of general duties, that is Kenya Police, and another one in charge of administration police. But then they came up and said they should be administration police should be there, and the Kenya Police should be there. But now I want to tell you what was in their mind, the human rights people at that time. What the human rights people wanted at that time, at that point in time, is that they had in mind an idea that a judge, let me tell you the truth, a judge or a senior counsel. You see, we have a problem with inspectors general, and they foresaw that we have a problem with inspector general. One, look at the inspector generals we have had since since the new constitution. You'll find that some of them were being ordered around from State House. There are those who are being ordered around, like Mutiambai. It forced Mutiambai to be sick when Ruto became the president. So you find that those human rights people said, and I think they were right. Okay, mine is only to tell you, I'm a reporter. The human rights people are feeling that for somebody who has been offended, Dio sir, salute, offended, Dio sir, salute, is somebody who can be influenced by the executive. So they just looked for a way. In fact, there are those things that people don't tell you direct. People don't tell you direct, but they mean something. Just like somebody can tell you that it is not night. It is not night. Hasn't that person said it is daytime? Without saying that, using other words. So you find that these people, they really, if you go into their thinking, if you go to their thinking, they wanted somebody. Okay, first of all, they wanted two inspectors generals. They said no, let there be one inspector general. And then they felt that this inspector general, this one inspector general, should be somebody without a background of a fund. Two, it should be somebody who is a retired or a serving judge or a senior counsel who is. That is what they had in mind. That is what they had in mind. And they felt that trying to say that Inspector General of Police should not be a former police officer would be discriminatory. So they just opened the whole thing, and they wanted the whole thing to be in such a way that when that vacancy arises, then judges and whatever can apply. They can apply. Lakini unajua mshahara ya polisi ni kidogo. So judges seeing what they are earning and whatever, then being placed there, it made that every time there was a vacancy, every time there was a vacancy in that position, judges and senior counsels would not apply. That is what made it be that way. And then when we look at the former inspector generals, we can see that one thing, I don't want to name names, but if you look clearly and whatever, the inspector general, who is supposed to give an independent instructions about his job and whatever, how many have they been? Are they 5? I think they are 5. Of the 5, I can say, if we are lucky, then we have had two independent ones. We have had 2 independent ones, but most of them, like the other day, Kanja was being contradicted. I mean, in this, I don't know, Jukwaa la Usalama, you could see him saying something, and then the minister tries to clarify it, but it's not clarifying. Murkomen pretends to be clarifying, but in the actual sense, Murkomen is contradicting. It was in such a way that they wanted to give him a lot of space. Another thing that the human rights did, even though they wanted judges to be in charge, but then there is something else also they looked at it. It is not accidental, it is not whatever. If you look at Judicial Service Commission, the chair of Judicial Service Commission is the Chief Justice. And questions have been asked. Why is it that the Inspector General is not the chairman of the National Police Service Commission? It was said that there are those things that is written, but then there is those other things that go in the periphery. This thing was not accidental or anything, because they knew that there was a loophole. There was a loophole where a police officer would end up being the inspector general, and they had to have somebody overseeing him in the form of the chair of the Police Service Commission. I know police are coming very forcefully. Police are coming out forcefully saying that the constitution is discriminatory. The constitution is discriminatory because it is saying that now uh, we change it to an extent that it becomes like the Judicial Service Commission, where the Inspector General is the chair. To me, my personal view is that it is true, the Inspector General should be that way. But then we have also to bear in mind that because of the Section 2A, the way it was passed within minutes, it has gone to an extent that the 2010 Constitution had a lot of checks and balances, such that even today, if the whole country sat down and agreed that in future the Inspector General will be the chair of the National Police Service Commission, it will be very, very hard to do that. Now I've said so. If you want to say at section this and that, I'm not a lawyer. Dunstan Omari can, in his video in the Helicopter TV, can tell you the section this and that it does. But I want to tell you that the way things have been going on, we may not, okay, we will never have a non-police officer who is, you see those things that Dunstan Omari say, 15 years service, blah, 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 and social, and you should not have been in a political office for the last 5, such a thing. But getting such a person, practically it will be, now this is a place where we are being told 7 or 8 people are qualified. 7 or 8, what do you call it, professions are qualified. And then they say that there is a vacancy and you are supposed to apply. When you are told that, you find that only 5 people apply. Let's say you want a medical person or a lawyer there, no lawyer applies. Do you leave that position vacant and you reapply? No. So in the future, it is going to be like in the Constitution. They say that people apply. People apply and then they are vetted by government. Let me ask you, apart from Kimayo, do you have an occasion when there was an open application for Inspector Generals to apply? No, there was not. Because yes, I like Boynet. He was a very small person, but very intelligent. But he was headhunted because he fitted the bill. I also feel he fitted the bill. But the situation where he could have other people to apply or anything, I don't think people are given an opportunity to do that, even if there would have been. Then we go to, that was now Boynet. When Boynet was about to leave, he went back to us, the NIS. He went back to the intelligence and picked somebody. Now you see, we have a problem with the specialized officers. We have a problem with specialized officers. Of course, Boynet was a specialized officer, but in many cases we have a problem there. So a person like Nyaseda was very good in investigation. He would have been a very good director of CID, but because they were taking out a Luo called Abong, and they wanted to place a Luo there. And another thing they wanted is that there was is it Dr. Kamau, whom they wanted to be made the director of criminal investigation. Remember, when they wanted Dr. Kamau to be that, they say they send out an application and said anybody who wants to be the director of CID should apply, but should have a doctorate degree. Now, if you look at those positions in the police, do we have anybody who has headed the police apart from Dr. Kamau, who had a PhD? But if you ask me, they should have made Nyaseda to be the director of CID that time, and then appointed somebody else there. So this is what I'm saying, that you find that when it comes to this issue of heading that, there's some people could be professionals, just like the commandant of the Kenya Airways. Don't tell me you can make him the deputy inspector general or even the inspector general. No. So I've covered that part where I'm saying in future we may not, we will just have it on paper. Okay, if you come out of what do you call? I'd reached a place where I was talking about Mutiambai. How did Mutiambai? Suddenly we had Mutiambai is sick. Nobody talks about what type of sickness he has. If Raila would have won the election, Mutiambai would not have been sick. Then suddenly you hear that the first time we are hearing about him is when the president is at State House and he says, Mutiambai is sick and he has resigned. He has gone on, what do you call, pre-terminal, you know. But then he looks and says, wapi jina ya huyo mtu? Koome, what is this particular? Koome was hearing that he was to be the inspector general when he was in Kiganjo. So that one, you can see the way, the drifting we are going. We are going to a situation where in future, such things will not happen. We have had the members of the administration police pushing. They are saying that they are grateful that Masengeli is the first AP recruit to be a DIG. Since time immemorial, AP has been headed by district officers and district commissioners and provincial commissioners. Later on, when the 2010 constitution, they brought in the first DIG. Was it Arama? Or, okay, can't recall the name. He was a former district commissioner. Actually, there was even a question. Uh, they were being said that for you to be a deputy inspector general, you should have worked in the police service for at least 10 years. Then they said it was only last year that he was a district commissioner. Then they went, unajua mtu akikutafutia kitu hawezi kukosea kupata point. Then they went out and said that they should declare anybody who was a DO, a DC, or even a PC should be declared, that such a person should be declared an AP because he trained in APTC. The next one was the ambassador Nur Gabo. Nur Gabo was a police officer. Actually, there's even a time when he was the OCS Central Police Station in the CBD. So they took a general duty police officer to be the DIG. And now Masengeli is the DIG. And the feelings among the AP, which is going around, is that they are grateful that Masengeli started off as a recruit, not even a direct entry inspector. He started off as a recruit, so he knows what constables on the ground feel. He has been an NCO, so he knows what NCOs go through. He has been a member of the inspectorate, and so on and so forth. So they feel that, first of all, they are grateful to the government for such a privilege. But they feel that in future, that thing be rotational, just like in the KDF, should be rotational, so that this time it goes to the general duty, the next time it goes to administration, police, and then future after that it goes to DCI. They feel that it should be rotational, so that when one is, you never know, when one is employed as a recruit, the three recruits who go to the three campuses all feel that it is only hard work that can make them reach that rank. As of now, APs just believe that the highest they can reach is DIG. So that is my small communication about that. and God bless you.